Hey guys and gals, Joe here, the guy who's been dealing with some horrible tooth pain. That's why this is coming out a little late. And also, I've been fighting storms. I'm in Tornado Alley in Oklahoma, so luckily I haven't had any issues, but I'm always like a little worried. Dirty power, trying to record something. Oh no, a lightning bolt just hit something, and there goes my computer. Yeah, it's horrible. At least there's a couple months out of the year that's pretty rough, but I'm sure you guys are used to it by now. But I'm here not to talk about the weather, to talk about UFC 301. It's a card they charged $80 for. Yeah, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. Honestly, like, in terms of quality, it's pretty good. It's pretty all right. Definitely not, like pay-per-view worthy, I'd say, in terms of names and stakes. But the fight's really pretty good for the most part. So enough of this talk. Let's get to the fights. Main event: Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. I'm a big fan of the flyweight main events. You just need to kind of prop up the card with good names promotionally to help out. They didn't really do that here. But the champion, Alexandre Pantoja, big fan favorite, very well beloved, known for like a ton of forward pressure, a lot of like striking blitzes, and then a super slick jiu-jitsu game, and he's got good takedowns and really good at just controlling guys on the mat. And lately, it seems like a lot of his fights play out the same. And I will say, all these fights have been great. I've enjoyed all of these fights, but I really like this fight, but this fight felt pretty identical to the Moreno and Royval fight for me. Pantoja, he'll get hurt on the feet, get eaten up a little bit. A lot of holes in his striking defense. He's dealing with some compromised gas tank and guts out a decision with takedowns and top control. In this fight, I kind of felt like Erceg might have thrown the fight, not intentionally, of course. I think he might have fumbled the bag a little bit here with some takedown attempts in round 5, but in a very close fight. I thought it was 2-2 going into round 5, personally. But Pantoja does get a unanimous decision win with ground control, takedowns, in a pretty awesome fight. And Erceg, huge underdog here. Me and Carl both thought he was probably going to get finished. And no, this fight played out like pretty similar to how like I said, like the other fights with the title have been. Erceg, huge underdog, and he did the best. I think he did the best job in this type of fight, really putting on the punishment. Super slick boxing, a big elbow that cut the champ. And when he was tagged on the feet, he did a good job of remaining composed, and because it's kind of hard to be composed when you're getting hit. And Pantoja, his blitzes did have some pop on him, more so than normal, it seems like, in this fight. And honestly, despite losing, I think he lost this fight. I know scorecards, apparently Twitter, a couple other places, people were saying that the scorecards were a little all over the place. I thought Pantoja won a very close fight. I did think Erceg came to put on a show and definitely showed off being this fantastic new blood in this division. Honestly, great job from him. He was already on my radar as someone to watch for. Now I'm actually really pumped to watch this next fight, even more so. Instead of just like, oh, that's a name I got to keep an eye out for. Yeah, I'm now excited to watch his next fight. He might have been the most fun person on the card with the job he did here, despite losing the fight, in my opinion. But let's talk about the co-main event. Jose Aldo, my second favorite fighter of all time, behind Boss Rudin. And he makes a return after I think it was 17 months, short-lived retirement, take on Jonathan Martinez. Two superstar kickers, but Aldo admittingly hasn't kicked a ton in the later half of his career. A lot of knee injuries and stuff like that of the like. But Aldo played smart here in the striking, though. He was pushing the pace forward, using that forward pressure to take away the kicks of Martinez, who is a very, very good kicker. I think it's 2 straight low kick finishes over Adrian Yanez and Cub Swanson. Him and Barboza, have the low kick finishes. It's funny, Aldo doesn't have low kick finishes in WEC or in the UFC, but I still think a lot of people would put him as the number one low kicker of all time. Kind of funny how that works, right? I mean, I put him as the number one low kicker of all time. I have him, Gaethje, then Barboza, personally. But when you're crowded, it's really hard to throw kicks, especially when you're on your back foot. It's really hard to, you have to kind of stop and then throw the kick. When you're getting pushed back, you can't throw kicks. You crowd the kickers, you kick with them, you kind of block the airways, in a sense. That's what you do, and Aldo was doing that perfectly, and he had the better boxing game. We all kind of knew that he had the better boxing game, and he was showing it off. Super slick boxing. Whenever he would throw a low kick, he doesn't throw him a ton anymore, but when he did, it's fantastic. It was wonderful. He couldn't get the finish. Good body shots as well. I love the 1-2 left hook to the body. Oh, so good. Aldo's body work has always been very, very underrated until the Jeremy Stephens finish. So it was really cool to see him do that again. It's always really fun seeing him go to the body. Aldo couldn't get the finish though. Took a unanimous decision win, and even though this was him just kind of finishing up his contract, he had the one fight left on his contract. Even though the popular conspiracy that I also subscribe to is that the UFC asked him to fight on this card as a favor because this was a weak card. It sounds like he might stick around. Aldo was saying hey, I felt pretty good here. I felt good. I kind of want to go for another title. Go for another title run. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked really good. I'm kind of hoping he rides off into the sunset. It's really hard to watch beloved names stick around, for too long. I'm a big Frankie Edgar fan. That got painful. Big Tony Ferguson fan. It's incredibly painful. It's kind of nice when they leave when they're still competitive. You know what I mean? I thought Randy Couture had a pretty picture-perfect retirement. You retire on a loss. That happens. You can only control so much, but he chose a pretty good time. I thought Aldo's retirement, it sucked, but we understood it. You kind of want to see, as long when you're still competitive, you know what I mean? You're definitely not, I think Habib is too early, and then there's too late. I thought Aldo kind of hit the nail on the head there. And I kind of want him to dip, admittingly. But if he still won the fight, he still looks good in there. So I can only want. I can't force anything here. So sounds awful out of context. But I genuinely hope for the best. That said, he joked about skipping the line for a title fight. I fully expect Sean O'Malley to be like, you know what? I'll fight Aldo instead of Merab. Once again, ducking Merab. Fun fact. Merab was the last guy to beat Aldo. But what about the rest of the card? Anthony Smith got an upset win with a guillotine over Vitor Petrino. Michel Pereira, he avenged Shogun Rua with a quick drop from a 1-2 punch, then a backflip, and then a standing guillotine choke over Ihor Pretoria. That's for doing the cringe Fortnite dance. Disgusting. Chao Borayo, he got a big, or cow? I think it's cow. There was a guy back in the day, I think it was Chao Mangalesh, who went, I think it's spelled the same way, but it was Chao. But Chao Borayo, he got a big KO win over Paul Craig. That showed off that he does have pop in his shots, which is good. It's good you want to see this because this guy's got a lot of potential, a lot of upside. He's been climbing the rankings pretty well, but his fights have been kind of boring. He's not known for being a finisher. It's good that he got a finish here. Johannerson Brito got a TKO win over Jake Shore, and this was a weird one. It was stopped due to a cut on, not Jake Shore, Jack Shore's shin. His shin was bleeding awful, and the doctor got his finger in there. And then people were really worried it was it was a fractured shin, and so they called it. And then like his dad came out and was like, yeah, it was like it was a bad cut, but it was on the shin. It wasn't disrupting anything, and it just had stitches. I don't really know how to judge that one. I think it was a gross one. I forgot the doctor until, my best friend were talking about it today. Doctor got us like, ugh. Yeah, that makes me kind of go, oh, maybe it was probably a good call then. I don't know. It's kind of sick though. The pictures are pretty sweet. He has been Lucindo. He ended the winning streak of Karolina Kowalkiewicz, and that's a nice name to add to the list. Even though Karolina isn't the biggest accolade, biggest feather in the cap, it's still a good veteran name to put in your resume as your hype is building here. Oh my God, Lord have mercy with this pronunciation. McTybeck Orabao. I'm not trying again. Ended the hot streak of Elfsbrenner with a unanimous decision. Drakkar Klose upset the Brazilian crowd with a unanimous decision win over Joaquin Silva. Mauricio Rufi got a TKO win over boy material still, Jamie Malarkey. Dion Barboza got a unanimous decision over Ernesta Carecate. God, I should have learned Portuguese for this, right? Ishmael Bonfim tried to get some hype back on this Bonfim name for him and his brother with a unanimous decision win over Vince Pichel. And finally, Alessandro Costa defeated Kevin Borjas by TKO. We are currently working on the next retro review. I'm pumped. I'm super excited. It is UFC 156, my favorite fight of all time. It's coming. We've had a lot of editor issues, so this is what is next down the pipeline. Even Carl talked about it on the preview show last week. I'm hoping, like, my tooth is feeling a little bit better today. I'm able to, like, talk and stuff like that, I've been in bed just kind of, like, trying to, like, rest it off, not sleep on it. So it's more like, that's why I've kind of, like, been a little groggy and, like, slow with my stuff lately. But I'm hoping it's feeling good and feeling great, and I can record another retro review this week. I have two I gotta record this week, so fingers crossed for that. Wish me luck on this whole mess here. But I will also be back. Apologies for last week when I missed. I lost power. It's kind of hard to record when you lose power. Tornado Alley is I wouldn't want to move ever, but I love what it's I like having the internet. Luckily, I was reading comics on my phone. That was pretty sick, admittingly. But I am Joe with the INC. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a good one.